The Power of Now is a key work in personal development and spiritual literature, written by philosopher and spiritual teacher Eckhart Tolle. Published in 1997, the book aims to help people transcend the limitations of thought and the egoic mind, guiding them toward a state of full presence and awareness of the present moment. Tolle argues that much of human suffering stems from living in constant identification with thoughts of the past and anticipation of the future, which leads to losing touch with the only real moment, the now. Throughout the text, the author explains how people can free themselves from the dominance of the mind, overcome the ego, and find inner peace. This state is primarily achieved through meditation, present moment awareness, and the acceptance of reality without resistance. Some key ideas from the book are the power of the present. The author suggests that the now is the only real moment that exists. The past and the future are merely mental projections, and by focusing on the present, one can experience a more fulfilled and conscious life. Identification with the mind. Tolle argues that many people are trapped in their own minds, identifying with their thoughts, which leads to suffering. Detaching from thoughts allows individuals to reach a state of inner peace. The ego and suffering. The ego is a mental construct that separates us from the present and causes us to identify with fear, desire, and anxiety. By overcoming the ego, it is possible to access a more conscious and happy life. The importance of acceptance. Accepting the present moment as it is, without resisting or judging it, is key to inner peace. Resisting what happens only creates more suffering. The book is very popular among those seeking personal growth and spirituality. Chapter 1. You are not your mind. The first chapter introduces a fundamental idea. Most people are trapped in their own minds and thoughts. This constant mental dialogue creates a barrier that prevents fully living. According to Tolle, the mind is a useful tool, but it can also become tyrannical if people over-identify with it. This identification gives rise to a false sense of self, or the ego. The mind, focused on past memories or future projections, keeps us away from the only moment that truly exists, the present. Tolle points out that thoughts about the past or future are mere interpretations or imaginations that divert us from reality and cause suffering. The author invites the reader to observe their thoughts from an external perspective, as an observer, without being carried away by them. Chapter 2. Consciousness, the Path to Liberation. Tolle introduces the concept of present moment consciousness, which involves becoming aware of the now and, through it, transcending the ego. To achieve this, it is necessary to observe without judgment what is happening within oneself and in the environment. By doing so, a separation between the true essence of being and the mind is created, allowing inner peace to emerge. Tolle also discusses the importance of thought-free awareness, a technique that involves being aware of the environment and oneself without labeling, judging, or rationalizing. This practice connects us with a deeper, more real part of our identity, distancing us from mental identifications. A key practice for reaching this state of awareness is observing the breath. Being present while breathing is a simple yet powerful way to anchor the mind in the present moment, preventing it from drifting into concerns about the past or future. Chapter 3. Entering the Now. In this chapter, Tolle emphasizes that the present moment is all that exists. Everything that happens in life occurs in the now, but the mind tricks us into believing that what's important is in the past or future. This mental deception distracts us from the power and fullness that can be found in the present. One of the most effective practices for entering the now is paying attention to the body and physical sensations. According to the author, the body is a gateway to the present moment since it is always in the now, unlike the mind, which often wanders through thoughts about the past or future. Tolle also introduces the concept of presence, which is the state of being completely here and now, without allowing the mind to interfere. Presence is the antidote to suffering, as in the now there is no room for the anxiety or pain that comes from the mind. The author emphasizes that any problem we face is not in the present. All problems are mental constructions about what could happen or what already happened. Chapter 4. Emotions, the body in the present. In this chapter, Tolle delves into the relationship between emotions and the mind. Emotions are bodily responses to the thoughts of the mind, and they are often tied to the past through painful memories or the future through fear. By observing these emotions from present-moment awareness, people can prevent them from dominating their lives. Tolle also introduces the concept of the pain body, which refers to the accumulation of unresolved negative emotions we carry within us. These emotions, according to the author, are a form of energy that becomes activated when we identify with the past or future. To free ourselves from the pain body, it is necessary to recognize it, accept it, and observe it without being carried away by it. Acceptance plays a key role in this process. Tolle suggests that by fully accepting any negative emotion that arises in the present moment, its power is reduced. Resistance to these emotions is what keeps them active. Only when they are fully accepted do they begin to dissolve. Chapter 5: The Mind and Resistance. Here, Tolle delves deeper into the idea of resistance to the present. Most people resist the now because they are conditioned to believe that happiness lies somewhere in the future. This resistance is the main cause of suffering, as it creates a division between reality, the present, and the mind, which desires to be in another place or situation. The author emphasizes the importance of surrender, which does not mean resignation or passivity but accepting the present moment as it is. Surrender involves ceasing to fight against what is and instead flowing with life. By doing so, suffering dissolves and inner peace emerges. The practice of consciously accepting what is happening allows people to find peace in any situation, regardless of whether it is pleasant or not. Chapter 6: The Ego and the Illusion of Self. Tolle deepens the concept of the ego, which he describes as a mental construct that makes us believe we are our thoughts, emotions, and experiences. This false self is the origin of most personal and collective problems in humanity. The ego is always seeking validation, comparing itself to others, and feeling lacks it tries to fill through consumption or the constant pursuit of success. The ego fears the present because it has no place in the now. It only exists through the past and future, feeding on experiences, expectations, and achievements. Therefore, the ego is the source of anxiety, frustration, and fear. Overcoming the ego is essential to achieving inner peace. Tolle argues that when we stop identifying with the ego, we connect with our true essence, which is pure consciousness. This consciousness is infinite, free of fear, and connected to everything around us. Chapter 7: Death and the End of the Ego. The final chapter of the book addresses one of the most difficult topics: death, both physical and the death of the ego. According to Tolle, true death is not something to fear, as consciousness, our true essence, is immortal. What dies is the ego, the body, and the mind. Tolle invites readers to experience small moments of ego death in daily life when they stop identifying with their thoughts and emotions. This process is liberating, as it allows people to live without the constant weight of the past and anxiety about the future. The book concludes with a reflection on the freedom found in total acceptance of life and death. Living fully in the present is the key to transcending fear and suffering and connecting with the true nature of being. Conclusion: the power of now offers practical tools for freeing oneself from the suffering caused by the mind and ego. Eckhart Tolle presents a path to inner peace based on full acceptance of the present and the dissolution of identification with thoughts and emotions. The ideas and practices outlined in the book have resonated deeply with millions of readers worldwide, who have found in them a way to live with greater awareness and fulfillment. The popularity of this book lies in its simplicity and the profound truth it contains. The present is all that exists, and by fully embracing it, we can experience life in a more authentic and suffering-free way.